After a 12-day stretch without a homicide, D.C. police say they are now investigating a deadly shooting in Southeast D.C. Thanks for joining us this evening. I'm Michelle Marsh.
And I'm Scott Thuman. And this comes as we're now over 2 weeks into the federalization of D.C. and we've got continuing team coverage on this one tonight.
That's right. Our Nick Minock went to the White House today to talk exclusively with the director of ICE about immigration enforcement in the district. And D.C. reporter Felicia Ashley is hearing from business owners who have mixed feelings about the federal presence.
Although we're going to get out first to Josh Chapin. He's live in Northwest, where the U.S. Attorney for D.C. just spoke a short while ago. Josh?
Yeah, Scott and Michelle, we asked her about that homicide. She told me that she was devastated when she learned about it this morning. Take a listen.
Because we were counting every day, no homicide. Are people going to be evil? You're damn right they're going to be evil. Are they going to continue to commit crime? Absolutely.
The U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia speaking with reporters after announcing a major drug bust today. MPD Chief Pamela Smith was in the room as well, but she did not come to the podium. That murder happening overnight in Southeast on Anacostia Road. We went to that scene and found yellow crime tape left over from that investigation. This scene, of course, in contrast to the continued National Guard patrols we saw in other parts of the district, like here in Gallery Place. Judge Pirro praising the president for the enhanced presence in the districts.
What we've got to do is try to identify who those people are, take them out of the community based upon their criminal acts and the law and the evidence to make this place safe. Are we going to make it perfectly safe? You know, God, I hope we can.
MPD said, unfortunately, a 31-year-old man was killed last night, overnight in Southeast. The search is on at this point for who pulled the trigger in that murder. Coming up at 6 o'clock, Scott and Michelle, we asked Judge Pirro about the overcrowded jails here in the district and where inmates might be being sent in the meantime. Again, we'll have that part of the story as well coming up at 6 o'clock. Back to you for now.
To that angle, thank you, Josh. Pirro also spoke today about a drug bust, a year in the making.
Yeah, she says that this targets a D.C.-based trafficking organization that sold PCP and fentanyl in Southeast around Knox Place.
This morning, in a very sophisticated and almost flawlessly run operation, the FBI Washington field office, along with my office, executed approximately 20 residential search warrants across D.C., Maryland, and Los Angeles. The D.C.-based narcotics traffickers sourced their narcotics through Baltimore, and there was a co-conspirator who in turn was importing narcotics from California.
Now, 12 people have been arrested in this case, and one is still at large.
Meanwhile, President Trump is now suggesting more extreme measures be used to deal with murders in the district.
Here's what he said today at the White House when it comes to the use of the death penalty.
If somebody kills somebody in the Capitol, Washington, D.C., we're going to be seeking the death penalty. And that's a very strong preventative.
There is no death penalty in the district since it was repealed all the way back in 1981. However, the federal government can seek the death penalty for federal crimes in D.C. In 1992, residents voted against the death penalty in a referendum that was ordered by Congress.
All right, let's get back out now to Nick Minock for a story you'll see only on 7 News today.
After President Trump's 4-hour-long cabinet meeting this afternoon, Nick spoke to administration officials over at the White House, including what the administration is doing with immigration enforcement in Washington, D.C. Nick, we've got a lot on the plate right now.
Yeah, he sure does, Scott. And we got right into it. For weeks now, 7 News has been pushing for answers on how immigration laws are being enforced under the White House's D.C. police takeover, and who better to answer those questions than the director of ICE. Now with this big presence in Washington, D.C., with immigration enforcement as it relates to crime and the federal takeover, are ICE agents or any other of your federal partners going up to folks who they suspect might be in the country illegally and asking about their citizen status?
No, we're not. What we do is we pride ourselves on targeted enforcement and intelligence-based investigations. So just yesterday we got a known sex offender that had been released, TDA gang members, MS-13 gang members, rapists, and people for assault. We're focusing on those ones that we work with our other federal and local partners that have been identified to go ahead and get those out of our communities.
Of the folks who have been arrested for immigration issues, let's say beginning of August when the federal takeover started with MPD, what percentage of those folks detained by ICE or arrested by ICE would you say have criminal histories?
You know, more than 70% have a criminal history, whether it's pending criminal crimes or conviction for a criminal crime. But one thing I'd love to point out is the fact that when ICE is also doing our targeted based enforcement based on criminal intelligence, a lot of these individuals may not have a criminal history here in the United States, but they might have a red notice, which is an Interpol red notice from a home country, or a criminal history that's pretty significant in their own home country. And that we're tying that into our criminal investigation.
Yeah, and 7 News had a lot of other questions for the director of ICE here at the White House on the South Lawn, including what is he doing in Virginia? What is ICE doing in Maryland? We'll have much more on that ahead at 6 on 7 News. Reporting live outside the White House, Nick Minock, 7 News.
Nick, thank you. Right now, some businesses across D.C. are reporting a decline in customers. Our Washington, D.C. reporter Felicia Ashley joining us live in Southwest.
Felicia, while crime continues to go down during this crackdown, businesses tell you some of their customers are intimidated by this current environment.
That's right, and they say they're seeing it most at the businesses, especially restaurants, who rely heavily on that traffic that enters towards the evening or in the nighttime. They say that's where they are seeing the loss in customers. While across the board, business typically slows down around August, that's never been the case for the restaurant Kitchen Savages in Anacostia and its owner, Daryl Gaston. What is the usual pattern of business during the summertime, especially as we inch towards school reopening?
For us, we get a lot of tourists because of the mission and the story that people hear about Kitchen Savages. They're excited.
Why are they not coming in?
Not taking a chance into DC, particularly because of the checkpoints. We are getting an average of 20 to 30 cancellations through our open table. Some of them are calling the restaurant apologizing, but they don't want to take a chance of being pulled over.
Take a look at this. It's the State of the Industry dashboard used by the Business Improvement District and the DC Restaurant Association. It compares reservations to last year. The red is DC since the announcement of the takeover on August 11th, dropping 20 to 30% daily.
We are not deterred by the increased federal presence in our city.
I spoke to the CEO of the DC Restaurant Association and executive director of the Anacostia Business Improvement District. Both say some businesses appreciate the extra support for MPD.
Businesses have been really sharing that they like the idea that MPD is getting the assistance that they need, but they want to make sure that we let everybody know that we're open. We're open for business.
Darrell says it's been peaceful not hearing gunshots for more than a week in the neighborhood and wants the community to enjoy the peace and support businesses during it too.
Hopefully we are steadfast and the people in the neighborhood come out and support.
Now the Restaurant Association has actually extended Restaurant Week during this time to try and give restaurants an extra boost during this period. In addition to that, some of the business improvement districts as well as the association are working throughout the summer and even into the fall on more programming to continue to encourage people to come to DC and not to be intimidated by what's happening in the surroundings. For now, reporting live from Southwest DC, Felicia Ashley, 7 News.
Felicia, thank you. And today, a federal judge threw out a lawsuit from the Trump administration against Maryland judges.
Jasmine Stiles has the latest on this one for us from the Alert Desk. Jasmine?
So Judge Thomas Cullen, a President Trump appointee, rejected the Justice Department's request to limit court power in fast-moving immigration cases. He was brought in from another district to handle the case. Judge Cullen's opinion framed the lawsuit as a major constitutional standoff, saying the government didn't have the legal right to sue and judges are immune from these kind of executive branch lawsuits anyway.